Are you seriously thinking that I genuinely like you? Huh? I was not loved by Mike. I felt dizzy as this harsh reality hit me. Mike, seeing my condition, added insult to injury with his harsh words. All I wanted was a wife to do household chores because I'm busy at work every day. And yet you had to go and get hospitalized with your weak heart. A middle-aged woman with a frail body. What a joke to think about staying married. Huh. I felt the world around me darken, but then I remembered something I had seen earlier. With that, I have nothing to fear. With this thought, I regained my composure and retorted to Mike, Fine by me. I have a powerful ally on my side. So, letting go of someone like Mike is not a loss for me. However, I decided to take revenge on Mike, who used me mercilessly and even rekindled his relationship with his ex-girlfriend while I was hospitalized. I'm Kate, a 45-year-old housewife, married not long ago. Until my mid-40s, my life was simple, just shuttling between home and work. My only pleasures were occasional drinks and shopping, and buying a lottery ticket as a yearly ritual, hoping for happiness someday. That's when I stumbled upon a dating app for people in their 40s. I'd attended matchmaking parties before, but never found the right one. So, I started this app with a light heart, never dreaming it would lead me to my current husband. He was 3 years older than me, named Mike. A department head in a large corporation with over 1,000 employees, earning an impressive $100,000 a year. He seemed serious, a hard worker. Curious why such a great guy was still single, I casually asked him on our first date. He shyly smiled and replied, I've been too busy with work to have much of a chance to meet someone. Being the department head must indeed be busy. But at this age, feeling lonely, Mike decided to try the dating app. His shy response seemed so bright and attractive to me. I might have started falling for Mike from that moment. He seemed to like me too, saying, Honestly, I never thought I'd find real connections through an app, but I'm glad I met a woman like Kate. No, it's me who's thankful. I almost gave up on meeting anyone at my age. I never imagined finding someone as wonderful as you through this app. We both felt our meeting was a miracle and smiled at each other. It didn't take long for us to consider marriage. Half a year after meeting, we got married. On the eve of our marriage registration, is this the last time? I bought a lottery ticket, thinking it might be my last as a single woman. Right after our wedding, Mike made a request. I'm busy with work, so sharing household chores isn't really an option. I'd like you, Kate, to quit your job and stay home. Well, my mom was a housewife too, so focusing on household chores isn't a problem for me. I agreed to his request and quit my job upon marriage. Then came the joyful days of married life. Mike, happily eating my homemade meals, saying they're delicious. Those days of lonely meals felt like a lie. But little did I know that happiness would be so fleeting. Within a month of marriage, Mike's attitude changed dramatically. Initially, he'd come straight home after late work, but lately, he often returns past midnight. Even when I wait with dinner ready, I already ate, don't need it. He says, I wish he told me sooner. I'd silently clean up the prepared meal, feeling hurt. On the rare occasions he ate at home, he'd complain about the dishes. Tired from work and you serve me grilled salmon? My least favorite. How can I eat this? Make a meat dish. But there's no meat today. I'll make a meat dish tomorrow. Please bear with it today. If there's none, go buy some. I want meat. Make it now. Despite the late hour, I had to rush to the nearly closing supermarket to buy meat. Mike's arrogance wasn't just about meals. No matter how carefully I cleaned, he always complained. Tall Mike would run his finger along high places like the top of a large bookshelf. You still left dust here, he would bellow. He pointed out spots I couldn't reach without a stool, as if to harass me for being short. I can't reach such high places often. I'll do it on weekends, so please don't point it out every day. Even when I said that, Mike would retort with a look of disdain. Leaving high places dusty until the weekend, huh? Sure, people really are useless. His belittling of my height hurt me, but I couldn't talk back, not knowing what he'd say next. So I had to endure silently, no matter what he said. Taking advantage of this, Mike complained about every household chore I did. He would just lie around, always claiming to be tired. I had thought him kind at first, but his true nature was gradually showing. Still, I told myself that this was what marriage was, especially having married at this age. Lately, though, I've been feeling strange palpitations and pain around my chest. What's happening to me? Well, it should pass soon. I worried about the discomfort in my chest, but neglected it for a while. Perhaps that was a mistake. My condition worsened, with severe breathlessness and dizziness. Unable to bear it, I decided to seek medical help. The symptoms turned out to be from a stress-induced heart condition. The constant mental stress was severely damaging my health. I had to be hospitalized. Preparing for hospitalization, I returned home to inform Mike, but instead of concern, he frowned and said, "What? A long hospitalization? What about the house? Who's going to do the chores?" "I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Please manage with takeout or deli food. Laundry can be done with the dryer. I don't think it'll get too dirty with just you." "Hey, are you saying I have to do all the chores? That's impossible. I'm too busy." "I'm sorry. It's just until I'm discharged." I pleaded desperately, but Mike remained sullen. "Great. A half-wit who can only do chores now needs hospitalization? Really useless. Remember this when you get back." Mike hurled insults at me as I began to prepare for hospitalization alone. I felt guilty, as if I was running away from the situation, though I knew it wasn't my fault. The next morning, still sullen, Mike went to work without seeing me off. Alone, I headed to the hospital with my belongings. Mike never visited me in the hospital. I had brought everything, suspecting he wouldn't come. The hospital room felt incredibly lonely. To distract myself, I surfed the internet on my mobile. That's when I received an odd message. It was from Mike, but the content left me stunned. "Betty, I love you. I'll be off work soon, wait for me." I was about to mark it as read, when it suddenly showed, "Message deleted." Who is Betty? It was a gentle message, unlike any he'd sent me. Could Mike be having an affair? As the anxiety crossed my mind, my chest began to hurt sharply. I hastily pressed the nurse call button. Fortunately, it was a mild attack, and the pain subsided in about 5 minutes following the nurse's instructions. The nurse advised, "Stress is bad for you. Think of something pleasant." But I had no idea what to think about. Then, I remembered the lottery ticket I bought before getting married. The draw was yesterday. I checked the official website on my mobile for a bit of relief. I was shocked to see, "Congratulations on your win," on the page. No way, really? I was counting the amount, excited, when the door opened, and Mike walked in. Behind him was an unfamiliar woman, maybe in her early 30s, flashy in appearance. "Hey, how are you?" Mike spoke to me casually. "How can I be fine? I'm hospitalized. Plus, you haven't shown your face here even once." "Of course. Who do you think has been busy because of you? I had a hard time with work and chores." Mike, as usual, only cared about his own troubles, indifferent to my condition. I replied with a puzzled expression. "Oh, I see. Sorry for the trouble." Unfazed by my displeasure, Mike smirked and replied, "Really? Kate, you're so charmless. Well, it's okay. From now on, I don't have to worry about being inconvenienced. You can stay in the hospital as long as you like." "Oh, what do you mean?" Mike's words filled me with unease again. Then, Mike, with an arrogant look, put his arm around the shoulder of the woman behind him and said, "Because she'll be taking care of me now. Right, Betty?" Betty was the name in the earlier message. She smiled while snuggling up to Mike. "Who is she? That woman?" "You're surprised, huh? Since you're useless, I contacted Betty, my ex-girlfriend. She still likes me, so she came right away." Mike boasted about it. I tried to stay calm and asked, "Oh, an old acquaintance came to help? Sorry for the inconvenience. I need to stay in the hospital a bit longer." Mike and Betty burst into laughter at my words. Is this woman a bit crazy? She doesn't understand anything. Well, can't be helped. She hadn't had a man until her mid-40s. Mike and Betty looked at me with mocking eyes. I understood very well what was happening. They were having an affair. I wanted to say that, but it would only strain my heart more. So I responded calmly, but Mike said something outrageous. "Anyway, I don't need a weak middle-aged woman anymore. From now on, I'll be with Betty." He said this while presenting me with divorce papers. He wanted to divorce me. I couldn't hide my shock, even though I tried to stay calm. "Why? You're with your ex-girlfriend whom you once broke up with. You married me, and now you want to get back together?" I asked Mike that, and he replied with a look of disgust. "Do you seriously think I genuinely liked you?" Huh? I was never loved by Mike. I felt dizzy as this harsh reality hit me. Mike, seeing my condition, added insult to injury. "That's why! All I wanted was a wife to do household chores because I'm busy at work every day. And yet, you had to go and get hospitalized with your weak heart. A middle-aged woman with a frail body. What a joke to think about staying married. Huh." The world around me grew even darker, but then I remembered something I had seen earlier. With that, I have nothing to fear. With this thought, I regained my composure and retorted to Mike, "Fine by me." Mike was surprised by my unexpected reaction. "Huh? You're really okay with this? You have nowhere to go without me. Don't pretend to be tough." "I'm not pretending. Just make sure to file those divorce papers properly." I signed the divorce papers handed to me and returned them to Mike. "Alright, I'll take care of it. I'll submit them tomorrow." Mike said this, but still looked puzzled. Betty stared at me with disdain and smirked. "I thought you'd resist more, given your dire situation. But you can't compete with my youth and beauty, can you?" "That's right. I'm proud to have Betty, the popular one at the club, all to myself. I always thought a woman like her would dump an older guy like me." I was always loyal to Mike, even when I was the most popular at that club. Let's submit our marriage application as soon as the divorce papers are filed. Club? Popular? At my reaction, Mike quickly covered his mouth. So, he'd been going to such places while pretending to work hard. Now I remember him coming home drunk, claiming to have worked overtime. His late returns after dinner seemed suspicious. Seeing my doubtful face, Betty exclaimed, "Who cares? Anyway, Mike and I are getting together. Middle-aged women are useless." With that, Betty grabbed Mike's arm and left. Mike decided to remarry his affair partner while I suffered in the hospital. I couldn't forgive Mike. Even though I'd feel relieved after the breakup, I planned to take revenge first. After that, I quietly recovered in the hospital room and finally got permission to be discharged. With Mike remarrying and moving to Betty's apartment, I was left to live alone in our former home. When I returned home, I immediately headed to the lottery headquarters to cash in my winning ticket. It would take about a week to receive the money. During that time, I searched online for a good lawyer. I wanted to investigate Mike's past relationships with women, especially with Betty. Was their relationship really over before we got married? If it had continued, I could claim compensation. Once the lottery money was secured, I found a lawyer and asked for an investigation. It turned out that Mike had indeed continued his relationship with Betty. Betty had previously worked in a nightclub, and as Mike said, she was popular there. They had been together since then, and their relationship never really ended. So, Mike had married me while continuing his affair, treating me more like a housekeeper. This thought enraged me, but I had to stay calm, not wanting to worsen my health. I wanted to confront Mike and demand compensation, but I decided to leave everything to my lawyer and wait. Soon, Mike called me. "Hey, why did a lawyer suddenly show up demanding compensation for your alleged affair?" "Well, just do as the lawyer says. Otherwise, I'm ready to take it to court." "Shut up. Where did you get the money to hire a lawyer? Courts cost money, too. You spent a lot on hospital bills, didn't you?" Mike was oblivious to the fact that I had money, but his unnecessary comment would backfire on him. "That's true. You didn't even pay for my hospital bills while we were married. The lawyer said I could claim those expenses from you." Ugh. Mike's careless words had turned the situation in my favor. He was speechless. From the other end of the phone, "Let me talk to her." I heard a woman's voice. It must have been Betty listening in. "Hey, do you even have the right to claim compensation? You just got sick and neglected your husband. I was the one who took care of him, so if anyone deserves compensation, it's me." "That's right. Exactly." Mike, emboldened by having Betty by his side, sounded triumphant, but I remained calm and replied, "Didn't the lawyer tell you? The investigation already confirmed that Mike continued his affair with Betty even after our marriage. I hired a competent lawyer, so there's no escaping this." "Stop bluffing. You keep saying that, but you don't have the money." "That reminds me, Mike. Despite your high income, you only gave me $1.7 a month for living expenses. I struggled to manage rent, high utility bills, and groceries with that. That might also qualify for compensation, don't you think?" Yes, Mike had always treated me horribly. No matter what he said now, it only dug his grave deeper. If we went to court, it was clear I had the upper hand. I had meticulously kept a household budget app, which would serve as evidence. Mike still thought I was just bluffing. "A competent lawyer, huh? That's a lie. Your lawyer must be nothing special. I won't be fooled." Hearing that, I sent Mike the webpage of the law firm I found online. "I hired this law firm. You have their business card, right?" The webpage featured photos of the lawyer who was helping me. Mike must have been surprised to see it. "This is a pretty famous law firm, isn't it? Where did you get the money to hire them?" Mike's voice sounded panicked, so I decided it was time to reveal the truth. "Actually, I won $500,000 in the lottery this year." "Huh?" My words seemed to have surprised Mike and Betty. "You're lying, right? I never heard about you buying a lottery ticket." "I bought it with my own money before I married you. So it's not something I needed to report to you, is it?" After I answered, there was a moment of silence. Then Mike, sounding panicked, said, "You're at home, right? I'm coming over right now." I wondered what Mike would do coming over now. About 20 minutes later, Mike arrived at my house alone. Surprisingly, he looked cheerful. "Kate, I came to talk about the division of assets." Division of assets? Mike had come happily, so I wondered what he was thinking. I was dumbfounded by his ridiculous claim. "The lottery ticket was bought before marriage, but you cashed it in after we were married, right? Doesn't that mean I'm entitled to half as shared marital property?" "Unfortunately, that won't work. I cashed it in after our divorce was finalized, and besides, the divorce was due to your infidelity." "What? Don't say that! We were once husband and wife, so give me at least a quarter." Mike pleaded desperately. I sharply rebuked him. "No way! There's no division of assets. I need to get compensation from you. About that, Mike was again trying to come up with something that suited him. You know I was deceived by that woman. She only approached me for my money. She worked in a nightclub, so she must have had other men, more than just me. So what are you trying to say? Meaning, I'm a victim here, not really cheating. Of course I'll break up with her and never cheat again. So, can't we start over? I was amazed at his audacity. Do you really think that excuse will work? You definitely cheated. Look, I have plenty of evidence. I said this and laid out the photos my lawyer had collected of Mike's infidelity. The photos showed Mike with his arm around Betty, entering and exiting a hotel, and intimate scenes in a park. All were clear evidence of his infidelity. Damn, you gathered these? Mike picked up the photos, frustrated. Then, as if to add insult to injury, Betty appeared. Apparently, she had followed Mike and was hiding nearby. Hey, Mike! Who said I deceived you? You were the one crying and begging me. Betty, you heard that? It seemed like the end for Mike. Betty, having heard all of Mike's selfish reasoning, was furious. Don't look down on me because I worked in a nightclub. I've always loved Mike, even after we broke up. What will you do about these feelings? I'm sorry. Mike was now dwarfed by 2 angry women. I was so happy when you came back to me. You trampled on my feelings, so I'll ask for compensation too. Hey, why should I pay compensation to a mistress? A mistress? We were legally married, even if it was for less than a month. Well, it started as an affair. Seeing Mike's desperate face, I almost laughed. Mike, women's hearts aren't so easily swayed. Mike looked utterly disheartened by my words. It seemed like things were settling down, so I decided to call one more person who had been listening in. You can come out now. What? There's someone else here? At my call, a person from the next room entered. Hello? I've heard everything. It's that lawyer from before. Yes, this lawyer had told me to contact him anytime something happened. So when Mike said he was coming over, I immediately contacted him. The lawyer entered my house quietly through the back door and had been waiting in the next room. Mike, as Kate just told you, you have no right to any division of assets. Regarding the compensation, Betty's case will also be added, so we'll reconsider that. Upon hearing this from the lawyer, Mike was stunned into a daze. With this, everything was resolved, and I felt relieved. Afterward, I received compensation from Mike and settled the property division based on half of Mike's income during our marriage. Mike ended up divorcing Betty and now lives alone. However, his company, a strict major corporation, became aware of his infidelity and successive divorces, leading to his dismissal. It seems he had been under scrutiny by his superiors for his flashy relationships with women. This latest divorce scandal quickly leaked out. I haven't seen Mike since then, but someone informed me about his situation. It was none other than Betty, his affair partner. Betty seemed remorseful for what she had done to me, and came to my house to apologize. I'm sorry. I'll work and pay the compensation for the affair, little by little. Please wait for me. Betty apologized while saying this. However, I refused the compensation from Betty. I heard she hadn't found steady employment since leaving the nightclub. Initially, she managed with her savings, but her spending habits from her nightclub days lingered, and now her savings were gone. So, she had clung to Mike, hoping to somehow get back together with him. But I know it sounds like an excuse, but I really did love Mike. Betty's eyes were sincere when she said she had always loved Mike. That's why I decided to let things go smoothly with Betty. On the other hand, Mike lost his job, and, burdened with compensation to me and Betty, was in a financial crisis. He was even evicted from his apartment for failing to pay rent. Then he came to me, looking desperate. Kate, I was really wrong. Please forgive me just this once. I'll listen to anything you say from now on. Just let me stay here. I won't ask for money or anything. Mike begged pitifully. So I answered, Fine, you can stay in this house as long as you want. Really? Oh, thank you. I let Mike into the house, but that night, while he was sleeping, I packed my belongings. I had been looking for a new place and had just finalized the arrangements. By dawn, when Mike woke up, the moving truck was already there. Hey, what's going on? Why are you packing up? Where are you going? Oh, I'm moving out today. You know this house is a rental, right? You'll have to pay the rent yourself from now on. It's $1,000 a month. What? I can't pay that right now. You tricked me. I didn't trick you. I just said you could stay here. Good luck with the rent. Bye. I left the house saying this. Since then, I've canceled my mobile phone and made it impossible for Mike to contact me. Of course, I didn't give him my new address. Later, I ran into the owner of the house, where Mike and I lived. Apparently, Mike couldn't pay the rent and had to leave. No one knows where he went. As for me, I bought a luxurious high-rise apartment with the lottery winnings. The view of the cityscape from the window is simply stunning. I fully recovered from the stress after separating from Mike. The apartment has a fitness room on the first floor, so I exercise daily. I also adopted a Pomeranian, Mocha, who has become my dear family. But I can't just live off the lottery winnings. I enjoy working, so I decided to get rehired at the company where I worked before marriage. Coincidentally, I saw a job posting the day I moved in. They had trouble finding good staff after I left. So, when I asked to be rehired, my boss was delighted. Now, I'm enjoying an ideal lifestyle, comfortable in my new home, and familiar work environment. Though I wasn't blessed with a happy marriage, I'm looking forward to living life my way. That's the greatest happiness for me now.